All right, we're going to talk about the biggest pain in the ass for doing a Mopar front suspension rebuild, and that's getting out this pivot pin out of the lower control arm. So this part of the lower control arm, this is the part that moves. This is what the bolt goes into for adjusting your ride height. And if you look at the bottom of that hex hole, there's a step there. So you cannot get, this is the pivot bushing. It's an outer shell, a rubber center, and then an inner shell that goes on this pin. So when I go to push this out, I'm going to push on that pin. The pin's going to come out okay, no problem. The inner sleeve usually stays on the pin, and then the rubber is now loosey-goosey. You can usually tear it out of there. But then you got to get this outer shell out and the inner shell off of the pin. Getting it off of the pin is not too bad. Usually I just take a grinder to it and, you know, put a line, scribe a line across it, making it thin, and then I break it apart and I'm able to peel it off. But this inner shell is kind of a pain in the ass to get off. So I'll show you what I'm going to do. What I usually do, and I'll show you, is I put little cuts along here and then I hammer those in, and then I weld all that together, and then I push on that welded together part. So when you're pushing on this thing this way, when it's pushing, it's basically peeling away from the wall, and it comes out fairly easy, but it requires welding. If you don't have a welder and you got to do this, they do make lower control arms you can buy brand new with pins in it already. I mean, that's something to consider, but it's pretty expensive. Anyway, so we'll get after it. First thing I'm going to do is push those pins out. Alright, so there's the pivot pin pressed out. You can see the inner sleeve here basically stuck on there. So I'm going to take a cut-off wheel and skive this, and then take a chisel and stuff and spread it apart to get it off of this. So I skived it, and then I took a chisel and split it to spread it. Once I got it split all the way down, I was able to turn it and just pull it off. So when I skived it, I did put a little bit of a cut in there. That's not going to hurt anything. Here and here too. Also not going to hurt anything. It's a little burr. I'll take a file to it and file it down and be good to go. Alright, so I'm gonna skive it here, here, here. Actually, I'm probably gonna go about 45 degrees apart all the way around. Then I'm gonna bend them in and weld them to each other. All right, let's walk through where we're at on the lower control arms here real quick. I pressed these out, and the sleeve that was on here, which comes from the inside of the bushing here, was in pretty good shape. I should have just left it on here. Now I have to take this sleeve, get it out of here, and put it on here to replace it, or just press all this together if I'm going to go with the stock type setup, right? What I could have done, this one still has the inner sleeve, or the outer sleeve I should say, outer shell, which is this guy here, and it's in pretty good shape. So I could have just took a polygraphite bushing, pressed that in there, left my good sleeve on here, pressed that on there, boom, done. That's what I should have done. But I got ahead of myself and I kind of forgot about everything, and I just started tearing everything apart. So opportunity lost. So now if I want to use these guys, these pivots, I have to take the sleeve out of here to put on here and then slide it all together. And I already started beating up this sleeve to fold it in on itself so I can weld it up and then press it out. So now I have to use the outer sleeve for this as well. So well, opportunity lost. But I bought these guys. I think I bought them from Rock Auto. I can't remember now. I'll have to check. These are nice. So these are going to be with polygraphite from the get-go, and they don't have that inner sleeve, so you can't use these with the stock style bushing because this diameter is the same size as that sleeve there. So that alleviates the need for me to take that sleeve out. So we're covered here, right? Got the bushing and got the pivot. Not going to use these. I could take this one and just boom, press it together, and it's a done deal. I'm finished. These are really cool because not only do they come with nuts and washers, right? Go through the K-member, they come with a Zerk fitting on the very end here. And so these are actually greasable. So the grease goes through here, comes out the hole, and then you have grooves inside of the bushing where the grease basically resides. So kind of neat. Put them on my mom's charger. So I'll put them on this one too. Just gonna go ahead and go with that route. Now, because I already started beating this one up, I have to tear it out. There's no way around it. But this kit comes with outer sleeves too. So there's no bushing or anything in there. It just comes with the outer sleeve. So I'll press that sleeve into the lower control arm. So we're good. All right. Anyways, that's the lower control arms. All right, one more thing about lower control arms. Sorry if I'm boring you guys. This lower control arm on this side, see where that sway bar attachment is? It's pretty close to this bump stop. That's the 70 and later style lower control arm with a sway bar. This is the 68 and older style. The bracket's way up here, so this sway bar goes out in front of the K-member. This sway bar, this one goes through the K-member. And if your car didn't come with sway bars, it's like that. It doesn't have any attachment here or here. So anyways, now you know what to look for. Alright, I just want to show the nuts coming off of here. This is the old one. This is what, 7/16, 9/16 outside. And then the new bump stops have a smaller stud on them. It's like 5/16 and then a 1/2 inch head. So luckily I have these washers, nuts that have a flat on them so that it can kind of reach across. I think without that you probably want to use a washer because of the hole size on there. You don't want it to pull through. So anyways, got that on this control arm. Now what I'm going to do is, I actually like my cars pretty low, so I always cut off about half of the bump stop. So I bolted it on here to hold it, and now I'm going to take a Sawzall to it, cut half of it off. So when I lower the car, it's probably going to be just above, you know, right up in here somewhere. And by cutting off part of that rubber, that gives me a little more space for travel so the car doesn't slam. So it ain't even, and it ain't pretty, but it is cut. So it's good enough for me. That'll work. So we still got rubber there, so if the thing does come down, it's not hitting metal to metal, you know, but it gives a little more clearance so that the car can travel without bottoming out instantaneously. So I'm gonna put some grease on here so everything goes together okay. This is the control arm that had the original shell still in it, which is still good. So I'm just gonna leave it and use it. I can almost push it all the way in myself by hand. Alright, that control arm's ready to go in. Alright, ready to install the lower control arm. You may have noticed I like to put grease everywhere. Help put everything together nice and smooth so it doesn't bind. This basically just goes into the K-member like so. This new pivot came with a new washer and nut. Let's see if you could see that. There's like these pinch marks on this side, so those are gonna go to the top of the threads. Alright, I'm not going to tighten it completely just yet. Just want to give it the ability to move around. I want to get the torsion bar in there first before I tighten that down completely. In fact, I'm going to back it off a little. That way I just have a little bit of wiggle room to get the torsion bar in there. I also have to put the adjuster in here, which you buy new ones. Where did I get these from? Oh, QA1, that's right. All brand new. So this guy is going to go through here. See these grooves here? They plop into the sidewalls of the lower control arm. And we're going to thread these guys up through there just to get it started. Not all the way up. Again, we want to get the torsion bars in there first before we do all of that. So I skived all that, I folded that sleeve in on itself, and then I welded it all together. So now I'm going to put a rod through here, and now it's going to bottom out against that and push it out. And then as it's being pushed out, it's going to pull away from the wall. So it'll come out easier and easier the farther I push it. And squirt some WD-40 in there too. All nice and loose. I got a 1/2 inch drive socket, 5/8 impact with an extension, just small enough to fit through there and still grab the edge of that sleeve so we can go press it out. All right, there you go, guys. That's how I push the sleeve out. There's more than one way to skin a cat. Like I said, I saw Dulcich use the top of the spring holder that he welded across here and then pushes against it. But that's how I do it. Now, you're lucky, because if I was on my game, I would have just left this sleeve in there because it's actually still in good shape. It's not all beat up. It was just the rubber that was beat up. So like the other control arm, I could have just pushed, you know, a new bushing in there into the old sleeve, and then the new pivot doesn't have the inner sleeve on it, so I could just press it all together. But anyway, you got to see how it's done now. How you could get these out, because sometimes these things get so beat up. I've had them so beat up that the pivot goes metal to metal, the rubber just falls out, goes metal to metal, and it wears through this and splits it. I've seen it that bad. People are actually driving the car like that. So anyway, I'm gonna go get the new sleeve so we can press the new sleeve in here. Be right back. All right, before I put everything together, I wanted to go over it one more time. Okay. So if I was using a stock bushing, when I took this apart, this is what was in there, only the rubber was wasted. I skived this pivot. This is a stock pivot. I split it to peel it off, right? But with this new kit, I don't need to do that because it doesn't step down like this for this sleeve. It doesn't utilize that sleeve. And then for the outer, you saw me just press it out. I had to skive it, fold it in on itself, weld it up, press it out. So if I was gonna go stock right now, all I'd have to do is press that in, and I'm done. But since I'm not using this pivot and I'm not using this guy, I don't need the inner sleeve. All I have to do, this came with the kit for these pivots, is I'm going to press this guy in there, and then I'm going to press the rubber bushing in there, and then I'm going to press the pivot in there. Alright, let's begin, shall we?
I'm a rolling stone, bound to roam. Come the morning, oh, I'll be gone.
All right, this new sleeve's in there. Grease.
Pouring rain, oh, need that train. There she comes. Won't you get on? Won't you get on?
All right, done. Of course, I forgot to paint it, so I gotta go wire wheel it and paint it real quick. Then we can put it in the car.
Won't you blow? Take a sip, I'ma pack my grip. One more trip, and I'ma move.
So my torque strap is kind of in the way. I couldn't get the deep socket on there because it hits that. So I had to go with a short socket and an extension. Hopefully that'll work. Alright, the driver's side's being a pain in the ass. So I'm trying to tighten the nut, and what's happening is the pin is just spinning. So I can't tighten it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put the torsion bar in there, push everything in so it's tight, and hopefully it'll grab enough where we can start tightening it up.
City lights, oh, blind your eyes.
Well guys, this sucks. So I tried to put the torsion bar in here to push this in. As I'm tightening this nut, the pivot starts to spin inside of the bushing, and so it's not tightening. Now if you remember, on the other side, that nut has got some pinches on the very end, so it starts screwing on okay, threading on okay, and then it gets those pinch marks, and that's where it's designed to basically hold it really tight so that it doesn't vibrate off. The factory nuts are not like that, and I'm beginning to see why, because now I can't tighten it any further because all it does is spin, and you can see the gap in here where this pipe wrench is. So I try loosening it and it spins because it's locked on. I can't get it to come loose. So I'm in a very screwed situation right now. Now luckily the control arm or the pivot pin isn't in far enough, or in too far. There's enough gap here where I could get the pipe wrench on. There's like an outer sort of like a lip or a ring or something like that on the pivot. So I'm grabbing it with the pipe wrench so that I can loosen this nut, and it looks like it's still not helping. It seems like it's still spinning. Let me show you. Okay, see it spinning? I can't loosen it, I can't tighten it. I'm effed right now. I gotta get this in there. And I try to, just can't unpress that. Come on. Are you kidding me? Oh, got it. Son of a bitch. Got it out. Alright, so I was hoping to just get this control arm in and button all this up, but everything just went sideways on me. So, looking at the nut, it looked like there was a burr inside of there, and it felt like it was tight going on very early on. The other side seemed to go on no problem, so I'm not going to pull this back out for fear that I won't be able to get it to thread through again. So I'm going to chase it with the tap, and then I'm going to go ahead and put a die over the pivot as well, and try to clean up the threads, and we'll try this all over again and see what happens. It's just turning out to be one of those kind of days. You know, it's typical car stuff. It's usually the last bolt that gives you the biggest problems, or the last part going on. I might add, I had kind of had a crappy day at work today. My old boss shot me an email that was just pissed me off. Won't get into it, but just reminded me how lucky I am to get the hell out of that group. So I got a cool boss now, a cool job. So, all right, hopefully that cleaned that up. And by the way, the thread on this is a 5/8 18. I don't know if you could see that. 5/8 18. I bought this tap and die set from Harbor Freight, by the way. Cheap, but it's been invaluable. Couldn't tell you how many times I had to use it. Usually use it to clean up threads. Let's see how that goes on now. Oh yeah, look at that. I didn't put it through there too much, but I might have cut through those dimples. So it's not getting tight at all. Let me go get one of the old factory nuts. Let's see how it feels on there. Alright, that's a factory one. These are basically, butterfingers. these, instead of having those dimples in there, the whole thing is like squeezed, crushed. So it's sort of oval on this side, but still round on that side. It's probably doing what it's supposed to be doing. Just a little concerned. I'm gonna get it in there and it's gonna start spinning again, you know? I'm not gonna run this all the way through like I did that other nut. Let's try to clean up the start of it. Alright, I have a bad feeling about this. I think if I start tightening this down, the same thing's going to happen. It's going to grab, and this shaft is going to start spinning. And then I won't be able to get the pipe wrench in there, and then I'll be screwed. So I think instead I'm going to use this nut, which is not locking anymore because I tapped it too far apparently, so it goes on all the way. So I'm gonna go see if I got a big fat lock washer. I'm gonna use this nut and a lock washer. That'll guarantee that all of this will tighten up. It's not gonna get hung up and start rotating on me. All right, to be continued. All right, rummage through my stuff. Look at that. Lucky mofo. You know what? I think that's the way to go. I think I'm going to be doing that way all the time. Of course, I'll forget by the next car that I go to change the suspension on, but I can think that I'll remember, right? All right, back to it. Oh yeah. All right, boys. Tightened up. Good. Woo! Man. All right, so there's the pivot. Was able to tighten it all the way down. Now, I just realized the other side I didn't tighten down all the way. I left it loose on purpose till we got the torsion bar in there. So I still got to do that. This side, the torsion bar is in, and it's in far enough to get the clip in there. So I'm gonna find the clips, put those in. Hopefully you can see that. There's a groove right there. So this is the cross frame. This is where the torsion bar goes through. There's the torsion bar. So we're ready to put this guy back in. That's it. It's that easy. Yeah, it's on there. Now, it might seem hard to believe, but that clip is the only thing keeping that torsion bar from falling out that way. But there really is no force on the torsion bar going this way, because once all the weight of the car is on the torsion bar, on the spring, it's going to be in a bind, and this torsion bar won't be going in either direction anytime soon. So, all right, this side's in. I got to pull my tool, that guy right there, off of this torsion bar, put it on the other torsion bar, which is there, and hammer that one through, and button up that lower control arm on that side. So we'll do that next. Alright, so I should have changed the torsion bar boot on the other side, but you know, it wasn't torn, but this side is torn. So I'm going to go ahead and replace this side. I bought this torsion bar boot kit. It's like part number 173. I can't remember where I found it, where I got it. I'll try to figure it out, put it here in the video. So we'll go ahead and put this guy on real quick. Try to. It's not exactly fun, because yeah, see how small that hole is? It's gotta go over this. Yeah, right. Woo! Alright, got it. Work that down. It's gonna go all the way against that subframe cross piece. Okay. This is what I was afraid of. Motherfucker. Are you fucking kidding me right now? Gotta be shitting me. Fuck me. Alright. So, when I was putting all this shit together, I thought, man, that torsion bar looks really close to that header right there. But I thought, well, I don't know. We'll get the control arm in there first. See where it lands. Control arm is in. You can see. See, it's not. It's pointing too high. Why? Because it's hitting fucking pipe back here. There, that top tube. Fucking kidding me, TTI? Motherfuckers. You've got to be fucking shitting me. This is bullshit, man. This is fucking bullshit right here. You know what? I am never buying TTIs again. I am fucking done with these motherfuckers. How? How do you fuck that up? I mean, it's a torsion bar suspension. It's like, it's a standard 440, you know? So, how am I gonna make that work? Yeah, I'm gonna have to fucking... I can't even get a fucking hammer in here to beat the shit out of it to get it to clear. Fuck! You know, and if these headers were on a 383, it'd probably be okay. Because the header would drop, because it's a lower deck. These headers would come down just enough, it'd probably clear. Probably clear on a 383. I'm running these same headers on my mom's car, although, you know, not the exact same, because maybe there's production differences, but it's the same header, same fucking part number. Fuck. Guys suck, man. Guys fucking suck. You know. Well, so much for tonight. I'll have to figure out somehow to fucking beat that thing in. I ain't pulling all this shit back apart, that's for damn sure. Motherfucker. Should've bought Douglas headers. Motherfucker. Damn it. Alright, I am at a point where I should be walking away because I'm so frustrated and I'm so pissed off. You know how much I spent on these headers? I spent about $1,100 on these fucking headers and they don't fit the car. Hits the torsion bar there, and so now I can't get the torsion bar into the lower control arm. So it kind of looks like to me these pipes should have came down lower. You can almost see like a pocket right through there. Like maybe that's where the torsion bar should go, like that. Then all of this would have to hang down lower in order for the torsion bar to go into the control arm. So let's see how far off it is. I think you can tell. That's how far off it is. So this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna try to bend the freaking headers that way. I don't know if I can, but I'm gonna fucking try. Alright, did that do anything? I seriously doubt it. It didn't feel like they bent. Yeah, still hits the header. Still far off. Fuck. Alright, what do I do? I'm gonna have to crush this pipe. It's the only way. It's fucked up because there's a weld right there too on the collector, so it's not gonna bend easy right in here. Alright, I am walking away. I'm gonna walk away. I'm gonna sleep it off. Think about it. I'm gonna come out here tomorrow and the header is gonna magically be moved that way and the torsion bar is gonna go into the lower control arm, right? Right. This is my 68 Cornet. And look at that. I mean, these are the same headers. 2-inch tubes. The torsion bar goes above the pipes. It's like those pipes are too fucking short. This is the 72 Charger. Oh yeah, I don't have the torsion bars in here yet. But this is a 383, so I don't know if I'm gonna have a problem with it. I might. Let's see.